Estella Li's dedication to conservation took effect shortly after she emigrated to New Zealand, and in the past couple of decades she's inspired hundreds more people at least to protect the environment. She's the founder and chair of the Chinese Conservation Education Trust, and her story is one of 47 New Zealanders included in the book Guardians of Aotearoa by Joanna Knox. Each chapter recognises the efforts of people whose actions safeguard our flora and fauna. Estella Li says she focuses on exposing new immigrants to native wildlife and getting the conservation message across, creating the kind of love for our environment that she has herself. Her efforts have earned her a QSM. Her connections to so many different organisations are too many to list here. Estella's in our Auckland studio. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And congratulations on the recognition. Do you welcome that?
Well, of course, it's very exciting for me. And I feel very much honoured and humble among all those top conservationists. So I'm just a small peanut among the big potatoes.
We need plenty of peanuts. That's exactly what conservation in New Zealand is all about. Everyone doing their thing. I'm curious as to how your involvement began and what the setting was when you started these initiatives.
Well, when I first came as a new immigrant, I know nothing about conservation, environmental protection. We don't have the environment. We don't have the support from the government to learn. So after I came into New Zealand in 1988, I found that New Zealand is a very unique country. When I walk around in the regional parks, and there are signage telling me that how good New Zealand is and how unique the environment is. So I started to learn. And in 1993, I started to write articles on the Chinese paper, and I need to gather some information. And then I went to the regional office of the Auckland Regional Council, and I come across a lady called Linda Perkinson. And after she understand that I want to write about the Auckland Regional Park and the other parks. So she took me to Tiritiri Matangi. And that's the first time I genuinely get in touch with the conservation, because the Chinese, when they think of protection for the natural environment, is only about do not litter, recycle things. The ecology part is missing out. So then I have a lot of questions, and I started to explore. And after some years, in 2000, Linda come back to me and asked me if I was still writing, and also I had a radio show on the Chinese radio. So she wanted me to help her to organize activities for the Chinese. Afterward, of course, I know that there's a program called the Asian Awareness Program, because at that time, many Chinese come in and bring all sorts of funny traditional Chinese medicine. And we do not know why we can't bring it in, and what is called CITES, what is the custom operate, we don't know. So they see a lot of Chinese in the restaurant, in the Chinese grocery shop, but how to sit them down and listen. So then they work with me. So because I have two media to use, the Chinese radio and also the Chinese paper, so they want me to gather the Chinese and sit down and listen. So the first activity we've done is in 2001, and going to Miranda to see the migrant birds.
Godwits.
Yes. So I gather 30-something Chinese community leader and Chinese media to attend the activity. And then we also have an other activity on the same year, 2001. We went to Motutapu to do the tree planting. I still remember that we had 108 people. And the youngest is 3 years of age, and the oldest is 73. And we plant 4,000 trees within 2 hours. So everybody's excited, and the Department of Conservation named that place China Hill. And afterward, we both, Linda and me, Linda was the contractor to push forward this Asian awareness program with dog. So we all feel that we got to do something long term. So I gathered some like-minded people and set up the Chinese Conservation Education Trust. And with the help of the Department of Conservation, we have activity every month for the Chinese, and I had very good response from the Chinese. And I can see that the Chinese here, they are so eager to learn, and they are so willing to help. So the whole thing just get up and going.
Just kept going on you.
Yeah.
Going back, Estella, I think when you first came here, I mean, you fell in love, didn't you, with the outdoors? And it's that love that you're sharing, really, isn't it?
Yes.
But I think you were also, in the early years, you were involved in tourism and guiding people, so you already had this clear ability to communicate what you love about New Zealand. It's just become more and more focused on the conservation side of things as people began to see the potential and the reach you had, as you said, with the radio show and the newspaper.
Yes. Thank God. I always be grateful that there's the blessing from God that I can pass my own feeling to my audience, to my reader. So I have a lot of fans when I had the radio show, and also quite a lot of readers with me when I was writing. And I like the natural environment. Ever since I was born in Hong Kong. But Hong Kong doesn't have a lot of wilderness. So I'm always eager to find somewhere to live where I can have a more open space. So thank God he sent me to New Zealand, the God-gift land.
Language is significant also. Is that another part? As you say, when you talk to people and show people things, you're finding the enthusiasm is there. But for you also, you're a Mandarin speaker and a Cantonese speaker. Is sometimes that a barrier in communicating for new migrants? Some of the conservation approaches that we have, or some of the rules around special places that we have, was that something else you were able to help break down?
Yes. Actually, my mother tongue is Cantonese, but I can speak Mandarin, not in a very accurate way, but I do know that they all understand me. So, yes, the language barrier is very important. So we are here, the Trust, Chinese Conservation Education Trust, is able to help with the language barrier. So whatever we tell them, and they tended to pay close attention and want to stick to what is right and don't want to do the wrong. So, I can see that our trust really help on this side.
Tell me some more of what the conservation work, the trust is involved with, what it is, because more and more's happened over these years since 2002.
Yes,
there's the education, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, when we were where we first started, and it was the help from the Department of Conservation. Of course, they concentrate more on the conservation side, but then the Department of Conservation's funding's been cut, so now we have to stand on our own feet. But we are so popular among the Chinese that and also I've learned how to operate, and I have some contacts. So we are doing all sorts of things. whatever we can get our hands on, like we're working with the Auckland Council now, teaching the Chinese about composting and organic gardening. We never have the chance to do it because everybody live in this high rise, no chance to grow anything. So now I can see a lot of groups, WeChat group, very eager, more than 500. Well, the limit is 500. So 500 people's group and chatting and exchanging ideas, seeds, seedlings, and a lot of people are getting into the organic gardening. And also, we work with the Ministry of Primary Industry, teaching the people about kauri dieback, and they are eager to get onto our trips. And we are working with the Upper Harbour Local Board about Northwest Wildling and tell them to help with the weeding, tree planting, and get rid of the animal pests. So, and also we are working with Howick Local Board, we are doing repair cafe. Save the still useful resources. So we have done 3 repair cafe last year. And we have done using the broken umbrella to make beautiful shopping bags. And whereas the umbrella frame, we can take it to the scrap metal people, and they can reuse it. And we teach people how to do the beeswax web and to save the plastic. Those plastic things. And we also tell the people to live lightly. I have been to Antarctica last year, and I have used my Antarctic talk to tell them that how they can help to reduce the carbon footprint. And well, so many things going on last year.
And the reception is just, as you say, those workshops that you're running at weekends and meetings after hours, they book out. Like the enthusiasm is there.
Yes. Well, we have taken people to Miranda last Saturday. And, we have normally a 45-seater coach is very soon is full up. And coming Saturday, we are going to take them to Tiawamutu to learn about the King movement and also to see the National Wetland Center. And once the news go out, 60-something people rush in. So we have to close the door and tell some people that, sorry, you're on the waiting list.
It's not much of you're having what's called an active retirement, Estella, aren't you? You love that godwit. Did you go to the North Korea-China border to survey the bar-tailed godwit?
Yes, well, not North Korea though. So I went with the birders, the Miranda Shopping Center's birder, to Yalujiang because I can help with the language, and also I have a Chinese mind. Well, so for a smooth operation. So I went with them almost every year after 2010, something like. I help with the language barrier, help with the mindset. And last April, we have a simultaneous count from North Korea and Yalujiang, because we are on the upper 2 sides of the Yalujiang. Then we have a better picture of how many birds there are at that area. And lucky enough, our birder, Adrian, had opened the door to North Korea. I think, the audience may have seen the Sunday episode about the TVN set has taken from North Korea. So it's a big deal among the birders. And there was a very famous bird called the E7, which we joint venture with the American 2007, that we have put a transmitter on 16 birds. Only one bird come out with a complete journey. And that bird, we can see she can fly from Miranda to Yalujiang 7.5 days non-stop, without drink, without food, without rest, and flopping the wings for over 1 million times to get to Yalujiang, and then feed there for a month, and then fly to Alaska and breed. At the end of August, she came back to New Zealand 8 days and 4 hours without stop. So shocked the whole world. So then we can prove that that little bird can do the journey and inspire a lot of people to protect the wetland.
Sure. It's that wonder, isn't it? That sense of wonder.
Well, yes, it's amazing.
That, as you say, is what motivates people to protect and to get interested and to do the right thing. Lots of awards, as we said, and I love one award that praised your way of showing, not telling, and that's the heart of it with conservation, isn't it? Is to for people to see with their own eyes the why, and then it becomes obvious, right?
Yes. So like the group I've taken last Saturday, they know nothing about the bird. But after they have listened to the story and seen the birds, they said, oh, well, we must do something to help. So they are just like being on fire immediately.
You're a great tramper, I know. You mentioned Antarctica. You had a really life-changing experience on an earlier visit to Antarctica, I think, as a tourist back in the 90s. What happened?
Yeah, well, that trip changed my life, and because we were held up by a storm. At the time, the wave was 25 meters high, and the wind was blowing 150 knots, almost 300 kilometers. And the boat was rocking 55 degrees at one time. So at that time, I was prepared to die. I'm a Catholic, so I pray that God help me to calm the storm. But the prayer was not answered. Then I pray that, I'm prepared to die. This may be my moment. So, and then I pray, if I don't die, I will give you my time, God. So after I came back, I tried to sell my travel company. I was running my own travel company at the time, doing so well that I wouldn't let go if this doesn't happen. So I sold my business, and at the same time, this conservation education trust setup pop up. So I can see that it's God's will for me to tell the message to the Chinese, and for me to start the trust and chair the trust and promote conservation. So that's how I sold my business. If I don't have that incident, I won't sell my business, because it was running so well. And I work with those very official travel agents like CTS, CITS, and I was doing so well.
True, but you've been there, done that, and I think the thing about tourism is there's not much point in coming to look at stuff that's not there anymore. So it's a lovely evolution in a way, isn't it? From showing people where to go to see wonderful things to helping protect the wonderful things.
Yeah, of course. It's sad to see that so many changes in our world, and bad changes. And really, if we can add on some education ingredient in the tourism sector, I think that can help. We have a lot of Chinese tourists coming to New Zealand now.
This year, Estella, I was just doing the story. It's the year of the New Zealand China Tourism Initiative. So you're going to be really busy, quite possibly. Yeah.
Well, I can see that the Chinese, they are willing to learn.
Yeah.
And they are willing to help if they can. Of course, if it is too hard and they may not be able to do it, or they are not willing to do it. But most Chinese, they like to help. So give them the message.
Of course, you're working with communities and with residents. And I think you hinted on it earlier, like there's the whole wider friendship and community activity that this has just become part of as well, isn't it? And a wonderful way of people interacting.
Yes. And I hope that after they learn, they can pass the message to their friends and family in New Zealand, also back to their country of origin.
It's a wonderful, wonderful achievement, thank you, and contribution. Did I hear you say earlier, though, that DOC can no longer fund the Chinese Conservation Education Trust?
Yeah. Well, it's of course, it's a pity that a lot of funding being cut from the Department of Conservation. They cannot help us anymore. But I really feel grateful and thankful that they started us. And help us at the first few years, because at that time we really know nothing about conservation. And with their help, and we try to explore that area. Now we can do it ourselves, and we are still working with the Department of Conservation from time to time. Like there's Conservation Week. So we take the Chinese, like last year, we took the Chinese to Long Bay and learn about the marine reserve. And also taking the Chinese to Motutopua again and do all sorts of nursery and tree planting work.
All power to you, Estella. Thanks very much. Estella Li, and her work has been recognised. She's one of 47 New Zealanders included in the book Guardians of Aotearoa, which is by Joanna Knox.